Hi Scorpio, welcome back for your live update for the general read for February. Yes, this is my second time streaming. Hopefully it's not buffering. I have deleted it and I'm going to redo the energy of what's coming through. I'll want a few people to connect. I usually do it in the morning or the evening, but I'm wanting to do some live sessions for you to let you guys interact and ask any questions after this. If you are wanting to make a booking, you can go to the link directly below. If it's not there, it will be there direct after the video. And feel free to touch base and ask questions after the fact. As soon as I've got 5, I will respond to any of your questions. The energy coming through for you guys is really interesting, and I do feel you're being very cautious as to how you're dealing with situations. I do feel there is a meditation upon how to directly sort a situation or address a situation, and I feel you're really meditating and keeping your cards extremely close to your chest. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, with the partial solar eclipse, a lot of you were wanting to have some insight and you were manifesting at a subconscious level what you wanted to come about. Some of that in the 3D may have started coming through. Others of you may have had glimpses of it, both external and internally, like hope, light. And at another level, there is downloads you might be receiving, but with the total eclipse, you know, knowing really what needs to end, knowing really what you need to finalize and, you know, tie up in a sense of loose ends. So the way you're going to be dealing with it, more information can be coming through to you in the next 4 to 8. Well, that's generally after the eclipse. It is an energy where you'll be working on that frequency for the next 6 to 7 months. I do feel there's going to be 3 pockets through the year, and that is because we do have around 3 pockets of eclipses coming through, and we do have mid-year retrograde, and a lot of the planets will be retrograde. Do be mindful for any contracts around March is going to be a little bit problematic. Mercury is going retrograde in March, so if you're trying to tie up loose ends, finalize contracts and have them completed, try to get that prior to March. I will tune in and do the energy live connected to the astrology. I'm still looking at the aspects and the transits, and definitely any updates that I have, I will come to you live in relation to the twin flame journey, the astrology, and any energy updates I will do them live. So if you are new, join, and you can feel not crazy when you actually understand why these things are happening. I tune in psychically. Some of you are on the in relation to a way to go, and this can be due to finances, due to assets, or due to a limitation of information that you're dealing with in front of you. I feel with your employment, many of you are content with the dynamic of it, but you're also wanting to, some of you, and I'm seeing 50-50, some of you are to the point you absolutely hate your job, but it's a means to an end, but you know it's not a permanent thing. Others of you, the dynamic is shifting so quickly that you're trying to keep up with it, but at the same time, you know there needs to be a balance. What it's going to look like in the future. I also feel it's a lot of where the energy is with the nodes, family-related dynamics can be coming up, and that is all the way through to March. So with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn, what you'll find in your zodiac sign is you'll be looking at the root causes of situations. You may be having trigger points with family-related dynamics, and that can continue all the way through to March. If you're in your third eye connected to it, it's going to help you be grounded. But at the same time, if you are wondering why people are being triggered, it's because we're all trying to find the balance in that frequency. Some of you, if you're co-parenting, you can be having dynamics connected to that and trying to find healthy boundaries, healthy ways in order to communicate with each other, but definitely in family as well. If we have any old situations that we're trying to tie up, understand, or balance out, that can be coming through too. In the unseen, there's a core wound that you're trying to release. So it can be that you're getting to a place where you're realizing you've got to leave the past in the past. You're trying to work out how you're going to do that. It can be that you're trying to be kind and understanding to others, and it can be triggering you because you're putting them above you. You need to come to a place where you're actually understanding unless you're happy, nobody's happy. And it's kind of a, how do I put it? We can't make other people happy, but if the consideration is only for other individuals, you're putting yourself second, and that can't continue. I do feel around you, if you're avoiding an aspect of a change, it's going to come about regardless of wanting it. And that's really with the transit of Uranus in Taurus. We're going to have to get used to the fact that things are going to change and take a 360. It can still be that you're going to end up at that direct road, but at the same time, it can be an uneasy feeling actually doing that transit. Some of the trigger points that are going to come up, you're not going to be aware of them till they hit, and they're going to come at you in February at left field. But as you know, providing you stay grounded, what you're going to find is as quick as they come is as quick as they go out, because you're in mindfulness about it. You're knowing where the trigger point's coming from, and you're connecting the dots. You're also trying to gain a relationship back with your intuition. And, you know, part of the lesson this month is to really go with your intuition and not to allow others to sway you in a way of what way to go. You know, sure, you know, if you're needing to get advice from other people and you're needing to get guidance, that's one thing, but it's got to come back down to your core truth of what you feel is vibrationally correct for you, Scorpio. Because I do feel you've got a lot of plans, but you are keeping them very close to your chest. You're waiting for the pieces of the puzzle to come together, and you're not willing to share certain aspects of information until you have gained the complete assessment of the situation. Some of it you do feel the power is outside of yourself, and it does come down to where the cards fall. And I'm sort of feeling as though if you have a plan, and this is very common for a lot of people at the moment, we have an idea of what we're wanting and what we're wanting to achieve. We don't know how that's going to look. We can't necessarily base it completely on the past, although we may gain some insight with that, applying it to the new given situations. But because there's so many ways in which situations can come about, there's a lot of balls in the air when it does come to how it's going to look, what it's going to be. I feel some of you who are very happy with work and you've been doing a lot of work, I do feel by July you're going to reap the rewards. If you continue to apply yourself to your given employment and your financial position, I do feel financially you'll have leaps and eclipse up to 6 months. So I'm feeling more balance connected to July. And it's interesting because we are going retrograde around that time. If you're to achieve things, try and get those things done by then, but be mindful that there can be a delay with the program. You know, you need a little bit in order to keep the balance. The planets are going retrograde around that time, and it's most of them. It can impact your forward motion, but it's a perfect time to meditate upon what the next move is from here. It's going to show you within your career, within your life, what's balanced, what's not. So it doesn't mean a tower moment. It more means a time of reflection, meditation, and assessment of how much you've achieved. So being prepared for that time frame is going to help you be more balanced. Again, when it does come to employment, I'm feeling as though you are keeping your cards close to your chest. You're being cautious about the way you're communicating. And it may be that there can be a colleague at work that you're not seeing eye to eye with, that no matter how you communicate, the same situation comes about. Some of the information that's coming through from them, you're gaining insight, you're checking their frequency in order to move forward creatively. I do feel somebody on the work front, if you're working in a group setting, they may be leaving or losing their job, and it can be a time when you can actually step up a notch in your job. Those of you, don't know why it's doing this. It's like Mercury retrograde. I did mention that. You've got two major plans that are going to be dealt with. But I feel until you gain the information, you don't want to jump the gun and have the movement until you receive more information. These goals you have in mind, I do feel you're going to achieve them. But again, it is down to keeping your cards close to your chest to not let the cat out of the bag. In your health sector, you've got to really pay close attention to people around you, how they're affecting you. They can be really triggering you at the moment. It can be in your home environment as well, because there's joy and stability in reverse. And again, the nodes being in Cancer, it can directly be connected to work and home. You do have the power in order to change that situation, so you're really going to have to think outside the box in order to change that. Interesting day. With people around you, providing you're looking at them and understanding why they're doing things, you're going to have more compassion connected to that. I do feel a lot of people we're in the self at the moment. So, you know, when it comes to the trigger points and people clashing, it's due to the fact that we're assessing what's correct for ourselves. So if you are bumping heads with other people, it is, you know, lovingly come from the heart and understand where they're coming from. That's going to help you. And it can be old wounds coming up connected to love interests. And also, you know, a lot of why people had moved away from each other was due to worthiness. So I do feel for you, if you're assessing your love romance dynamic, you're actually measuring your energy between what you deem as normal in relationships and what you feel now spiritually is you're correct. And you're measuring it between how you've transformed and what you're wanting moving forward. Now, the love read is separate. It's going to be released on the 1st. Hopefully next month I will release it earlier, but they are premiering. But I have pulled a Venus card for you guys as well. Some of you are concerned that, you know, the balance within the family domain is off. You know, more love, more understanding, more compassion perhaps has been given to other individuals and not towards yourself. And the balance in there has directly affected you. But if you look at it on the other side, it can be to a point where you have benefited more so because you've had to really own your own power and deal with situations on your own. It's given you the room for movement in your own life to be your own individual self, almost like the black sheep scenario. I do feel this can be coming up in February for you guys. And it can even be just in a meditation state where you're thinking back on how things used to be, how the imbalances were there, and how at times you were left out in the cold, but you've been able to manifest a lot of situations to help you. That's even the negative aspects of things where, you know, we feel undeserving or we feel unworthy. And we have that heart chakra activation going on where we compassionately understand their point of view, but sometimes it can be to the detriment of our own health. And with the joy and stability in reverse, it can be you made a decision and you're now critiquing yourself and you're looking at the lefts and rights that have transpired and whether it benefited you or hindered you. But I feel if you just disconnect from that and take it from today, it's going to help balance you out, you know, not being so harsh on yourself for what has transpired. 2016 all the way through has been extremely difficult for people having an awakening and moving forward. A lot of that is going to start balancing out moving into the age of Aquarius, but it can be when we're not wanting to change our mindset, our conditioning, and the way we perceive things and grow, it can be an awkward transition for all of us. On the travel front and physical movement, some of it may feel, again, is out of your hands. And I do feel you're really going to realize this month where you do have power. A lot of times we look at the 3D and we say, look, because X, Y, and Z is not in alignment, I cannot do that. Or that door keeps closing. Why does this keep happening to me? It generally happens to help liberate you. So while you're in that frequency and it's preventing you from moving forward, it's there to benefit you, not to hinder you. So try and trust in that process. Some things is connected to divine timing. March is not an ideal time for travel due to the fact that Mercury is going retrograde. In February, if you're wishing to plan now or wait till after the fact. If you're feeling nothing's going to change, especially in the movement and travel domain, do remember manifesting that lower frequency. So be super cautious about that. Pay attention to your mindset and check in with how you have traveled. I do feel you guys are waiting for something external to yourself to change, but do remember, we do have power on our side of the fence, and we don't have to wait for individuals to get into alignment. We can start shifting the energy back onto ourselves, and as we evolve, others around us will follow suit with that frequency. It's a bit like a chain of events. The left and right in your life, for those of you who are stuck, you're going to have to, how do I put it? Some of you are waiting for somebody to take the lead. And some of it in their own individual life, yes, they have to. But it might be you choosing for what is correct for you and understanding that you don't need to wait for an external party, that you can move in some shape or form towards the individual or towards your own personal goals, which is almost taking the bull by the horns. Everything that's happening around us is educating us. And even if you feel this person can't step up to the plate and do such, by detaching off that, it's going to assist them to actually do that themselves. And it is leading by example. It's almost releasing it in a sense of a codependent pattern and allowing that person to evolve. Now, this could be your children. It could be a love interest. It could be colleagues at work. It's really having these downloads of balance at work and home in February, which is coming through quite loudly in your domain to assist with you feeling balanced. A lot of you are getting a lot of psychic downloads at the moment. You know, you're very interconnected. So be mindful with the environment you're in. You can be getting quite triggered energetically from people because you're very intuitive. Whatever comes is divinely guided, and it is to teach you and to teach this other person. So even the suppressive energy that we physically go through in a 3D realm is there to help liberate us by moving forward. And it's almost telling us, okay, I never want to live through that again. So I'm going to physically move forward or deal with whatever 3D situation I've got in front of me so that this never happens again. When it comes to your romance, now, again, I have said that I have done the romance read separate. Some of you might be dealing with a water sign. At another level, it is about you, again, gaining a relationship with your intuition about what you want in the romance sector. Anything you're directly passionate about, you know, your self-worth, who you love, what it looks like, what you feel it should look like, all of those things are connected to you. You need to use your intuition when assessing situations in February. And I do feel you need to work out what is going to be peace to you, what's going to be your sanctuary. And it can be for some of you, you directly need to retreat in order to gain clarity in the situation. Now, I will come back mid-month again to do the reads, and hopefully the internet's working better then. I'll have a look at the settings